much?
I don't know. It's kind of what the offense is giving us a little bit. What we're trying to do. You got a young secondary that's, we're probably blitzing a little bit more, but that you might think you're blitzing it with a young secondary, but part of it's about those guys get lined up and they're consistent with their key reads and all those things. When you start getting into playing your quarters, coverages, and all the different things that we have the potential to do that we do usually over the course of the years. But right now you've got so many young guys that are very inconsistent and a lot of little things. You practice something, and all of a sudden they move a little bit. Our guys don't adjust very well. So part of it's a combination of that. It's that we're probably trying to make things as simple for the back end. I've got that guy, as opposed to I have this area based on what this guy does. We're taking the reading out of a lot of things, which some of those guys aren't ready yet from that standpoint.
Do you have some guys?
I mean, is that something you haven't dealt with in a while here?
Yeah, I mean, you think when you look at all the who we're playing with right now, and when you lose two really good players, in the back end. And then we've been scrambling at the rover spot since really day one of camp, and then you lose Kendall, and then that's then next thing you know you're playing with a bunch of freshmen back there, that you had 15 days of practice in the spring, and but just are not ready to handle a lot of the adjustments and things that we need to make game day.
Do you have is there a level of athleticism in some of those second guys, the linebackers, the secondary, that allows you to do more blitzing because of? Well,
we're doing it like I just said. We're doing it because of it helps them. Those guys are not having to read a bunch of stuff. They're playing, and we're playing man coverage so they can get lined up and hopefully get lined up and play. As much as anything, rather than okay, if this guy releases here, I've got to take the just what I said with those zones and that type of thing. So it's just all goes back to base fundamentals that a lot of these guys were second, even third team guys going into camp, so.
After watching the film, how would you evaluate both Andrew and Deion's play against Duke?
Deion played really well. I think Andrew was okay. He was okay. I thought they did a nice job. They ran a quarterback draw out of a certain look. What they were doing was trying to keep our edge guys from folding back inside, who was responsible for folding back in. But, the quarterback draw didn't beat us. The speed option beat us when we busted an assignment. It was a pass. On their first drive, it was a pass that beat us with a busted assignment. So those are the things that beat us. But Deion played really well. He had one penalty. I'm sure he'd like to have back. One play, but he played really well.
A few weeks back, Coach Beamer mentioned getting Tremaine some more playing time. Do you see them, or Tremaine, or even Carson, pushing for playing time, or are they kind of still behind the Wolves?
They're still behind it. Right now, we put in we got a couple defenses that it's a staple for us, but Tremaine hasn't run it yet. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where we are with not just Tremaine. It's kind of the same situation with some of the back end guys. So that's the frustrating part from a coaching standpoint, that we're limited with what we're doing right now, and that's not us.
What do you see from Boston College? Obviously, they struggled offensively.
Yeah, they're probably a lot like us in some ways, done defensively. Pretty decent up front. They've had injuries at their quarterback spot and running back spot, and they're trying to find some answers and find what's best fits them and their personnel. And they're dynamic on defense and really trying not to turn it over and play for the opponent on offense right now and being opportunistic. But they're still big, physical, getting into the multiple tight ends or multiple linemen and that type of thing. And we've got traditionally they're one of the better offensive lines and that we play year in, year out, and they're new. All of them are new from last year, but now they've got 8 games under their belt, and you see a group that's starting to gel and very physical.
Is this a game where tackling is more important than others? It seems like they always are.
No, I think they're all critical. Tackling's all critical because that's if you don't, you give up big plays. But these guys are consistent with what they do.